Hello, hello, hello. I was told yesterday that with my eyes like this, I look super tired. I am super tired, but consistency is key. So we're back at it. 9 to 7 yesterday. Let's see where we were. We were wrapping this in an if statement to check that we're only able to buy the weapon if we have enough money and if we haven't already bought all the weapons, I believe. So, cool. So that was yesterday. Let's go on with today. Cool. So, we introduce a weapon, an error, it seems, because the current weapon variable is the index of the weapons array, but array indexing starts at 0. The index of the last element in an array is one less than the length of the array. If the weapons dot length minus 1 instead of weapons dot length. So yeah, I think this was what caught me out yesterday, but I was too tired to figure it out. But I was talking about the fact that it starts from 0 and our index starts from 0, but our weapons length will be the actual number that we want. So where here we have a weapons array that is of 4 elements, our length will be 4, but our index will only go up to 3 because it's 0 and 3. So here we're changing our condition such that the index of the weapon, so long as it isn't the last, which is weapons length is 4 minus 1 is 3, and that will change. We use weapons length because the size of the array can change. If, for instance, we want to change the game such that we have 6 weapons now, we're not hard coding that anywhere. We're using length to get it so that this part of the code will never change, and we will always be checking for weapons.length minus 1 will be the last element of the thing, and then we know that we can't buy another weapon. So if you've bought all the weapons that we need, we won't be buying another one. So minus 1. And this is a bad habit from my days using a calculator in school. But I always like putting in, like, if something's going to be calculated on its own, I want to put in brackets. I don't know if this is necessary for coding, but like I used to use, I've got it somewhere. I'm trying to think where my calculator would be. I think it would be in the cupboard. But we had like proper scientific calculators, and you needed to get pretty good at being able to type in equations and do them right. And I got really good at using brackets to sort of siphon off the bits that I want done in isolation and then brought back in. So here those, yeah. I want to bring that into coding. It hasn't complained, but I bet you it formats it out in the next challenge, which it has. So it's probably not necessary, and if it's not necessary, then let's not introduce unnecessary complexity. To add an else statement for your outer if inside this new else statement, say that you already have the most powerful weapon. So again, this is something that the sort of text editors will do for you, is show you where sort of what curly braces are related to what. So I know this entire thing exists within this if statement, and at this point I want to be making a test of, do you have the most powerful weapon? And if you do, then I'm going to stick an else here and say else. I know this works. So this is the lazy me coming in, picking that and saying, you already have the most powerful weapon. Cool. Okay. And actually, I might stream the Python one because I think that would be. So I had mentioned that I am going to be picking up Python as well because that's what we're going to be using at work. And I might do the free code camp on Python and stream it as well because that will be a more accurate, I guess, representation of someone who has no idea, sort of doing something where I have some idea of JavaScript. And even though it's not entirely true because I do have a little bit of an idea in that if you can write in one language, you can pick up others easier. But I might stream that just because it could prove useful. So, yeah, we'll see. Alright, so once a player has a most powerful weapon, you can give them the ability to sell their old weapons. Interesting. In the alter else statement, set button dot two in the text to sell weapon for 15 gold. Okay. Okay, so, right. We don't have a function called sell weapon, but we're about to reference it. And so again, it might complain that it doesn't have it in the console, but this is something we can do. And this is what is done, I've seen done in JavaScript where you almost define functions on the fly. So we have said you already have the most powerful weapon, but at that point we are willing to change the functionality of button to. So this will only occur if you already have the most powerful weapon. You can then go ahead and choose to sell. So and we're going to change the functionality to sell weapon. Because I'm calling a function, I feel like I should do that, but that might not be accurate. I feel like I'm doing something silly here. It's so strict, man. It's so strict. But then again, maybe I shouldn't be using the brackets there. Maybe I shouldn't. So actually, okay. Maybe it's being strict for a reason. Cool. Let's create a new function called sell weapon. And players should not be able to sell their only weapon. So we're going to start with an if statement that checks that the length of the inventory array is greater than 1. Okay, so we're going to say if inventory so we want it to be greater. Okay, so if it's greater than 1, they want to go ahead and sell. And our inventory, so I always have to go into it and figure it out. I really hope you can't see it. You didn't hear that. But so real life is going on outside. Apologies, folks. Real life was happening. Um, and I had to be quiet because speaking is really late. My daughter got up to use the bathroom, and if she hears me speaking or you interact with her in any way, she like really, really wakes up. So I had to be a bit quiet whilst my wife tactfully take her to the bathroom, took her back to bed. But yeah, in the time that we've been here, we sort of built the functionality of the sell weapon function so that when we sell a weapon, we add to our gold plus 15, and we change the new gold text to that new amount. Now we've now come in here to create a new variable, and this is what I was talking about um, as relates to scope. And so we already have current weapon, like we already have a variable at the sort of global level, or a variable accessible to the entire program called current weapon. But because of scope, when we within this function, within this if statement, define a new variable called whatever, that variable exists and is sort of accessible only to this this function. So it then seems like if we whatever we assign here only is assigned here, and once we come out of this function, we go back to using the globally available current weapon function, which is quite cool. So shift method on an array removes the first element in the array and returns it. Now again, I think I'm only sharing. Okay, I'm only sharing this tab. But what we can do is, let's look at it in action. The shift method on an array removes the first element in the array and returns it. So if I'm going to do a couple of things. So I'm going to say, let's current weapon. I'm going to assign it current weapon. It might not be the best way to do it. Is equal to inventory, not shift, right? And so I'm taking the first element of the inventory, and I am sticking it. I'm making that the current weapon. And this might not be the best way to do it. I could initialize, I think, on declaration of it, but let's see. Yeah. Now, in order to test this here, I would have to sort of go through this process of having bought the most powerful weapon and sell. I could probably work around that by just saying, so let's go to the store. Let's just say that if current weapon is less than, okay, I want to fail effectively. In order to test this, I want to fail this condition. I'm too tired, so my head is not working. But I'm going to say if current weapon is greater than, because it won't be, will it? It won't be. Because current weapon right now is 1. Yeah, oh no, current weapon is 0. Yeah, current weapon is 0, because that's what it starts out as. So current weapon gets initialized to 0. But then inventory is 1, therefore it'll be 0. So I'll say if current weapon is equal to weapons.length. No, actually, I'll go with that. Oh no, so I'll go with that. Because it's not. And so when I go to buy the weapon, it should fail. And so I already have the most, and I can sell. Now, if I then go to sell, but what I really want to do is just see what this is. So so there's a number of things I have to do here. I want to console log current weapon. I want to see that it has. This is a lot of work for not a lot of reward. But I can also go back a step. I can reset it, so that's fine. So I want to console log current weapon here. But I'm also going to say that inventory length is equal to 1, so that I can go in. So now if I go to the store and I want to buy a weapon, I already have the most powerful weapon. If I then sell the weapon, yes, inventory shift has moved stick into this. Now, this was entirely unnecessary, but I wanted to be able to say I know how to debug effectively with some of these sort of minor changes that changes the functionality of it, but then gives me what I want to see. So I don't need this line. and I also don't want them to be able to sell unless it's greater than they have more than one weapon, and I only want to ever go into here if that's the case. So that should be all the changes that I made. So if we go to store, find weapon, and I have that. Find weapon, I don't have enough money, and that's cool. And that's all good. So yeah. Yeah, so that should be fine. Cool. Now, after your current weapon, use concatenation. I'll put set inner text to the string. You sold a, then current weapon, then string. Cool. So, okay, so yeah, so they declared it at the point of, they initialized it at the point of declaration with the inventory.sift, and now we are going to then say text dot inner text is equal to